Ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
Welcome back to the Gem Slayer series. I've read you guys' comments asking for long form content. Here we are. Thought let me upload something just before the year ends. As the new year approaches, I wanna wish you good health, peace, protection, and wisdom. Let's go through the game. So I played the first good move on the board. The best move is d4, f6, c4, e6, knight f3, bishop b4 check. This annoying check called the Bogo Indian defense. Those who study theory will confirm. So when bishop d2, 7, pretty standard stuff here. Again, like I usually don't explain much in the opening because this opening still play even now. Just for over the board reasons, I won't explain much from the opening. But yeah, it's standard stuff here. Then at this point, I went queen f4 with the idea to attack this bishop, and knight b5 ideas as well, going for that c7 pawn. But it's an active move because I'm attacking the bishop. Also, I have some ideas with knight e5 as well. Getting up on this pawn on d5, the knight and bishop. So he plays bishop e4. And I go rook fd1 just to defend my pawn on d4 here because there's some threats with bishop takes f3. Even though the queen still defends on d4, but the rook feels good on d1. Then rook e8. Then I just bring the other rook to the game. Because rook a d8, he was happy with his pieces in this position, so was I. So I think this is as fair as it can get to this point. I go a3. I was worried about knight e4 for some reasons, but now the problem is might be vulnerable on this c4 square as well as that b3 square. I'm not sure if knight a5 immediately was working here, but that's one of the ideas from black. So he went a6. Now I go b4, trying to gain more space on the queen side, as well looking at possibility of b5 at some point. Knight a4, knight c5 will never be a bad idea in this position. So he goes knight a7. At this point, I'm thinking, where is this knight going? This knight is moving back and is going to the edge. You know, they say grandmasters know what everyone else doesn't know. I'm wondering at this point what it really is, because could it be calculation really? Because I'm looking at something like knight takes e4 and then rook takes c7. I might be winning a pawn here. Now I'm asking myself, did he calculate everything here? Because let's see. Yeah, he spent quite a lot of time on this move. You can see he had 2 minutes, seconds here. And after this move, it was 1 minute, 14 seconds. So I don't know if he really calculated here or it was just that time where the game starts, starts being fire. Now I go knight takes e4, d takes, then I go rook takes c7. And as you can see from my time, I did not calculate much from everything here. I had 2 minutes, 37 seconds, then went to 2 minutes, 28. Then made this move in 4 seconds. Obviously, there's knight d5, there's pawn takes here, the queen has to escape. A lot is going on here. At this point, I was just, trying to have time advantage here because it always plays a huge role. So he went queen f8, and after queen f8, then I was convinced that he might not have calculated everything. But again, there's still threats here, like he takes f3 and knight to d5. So this is kind of dangerous. But came up with the move knight to e5, because knight d5, then the f7 pawn is up for grabs. So queen takes, rook takes. At first, I was worried about rook takes e5 at this point, but then I realized rook takes e5, 5d takes, king takes, bishop takes e4 when I get my piece back here. So at this point, I took, then he played knight to c3. I played rook to e1 because of course he's threatening this and this. I didn't mind him having this pawn. After he takes, I think I was going to play rook c7 or just take here, because this knight will be under attack. I'll also be attacking this and this. So it goes knight to b5, or rook takes b7. At this point, I was playing too quick. I was supposed to take my time and, think of better moves here. But again, there's this threat of rook takes here and king takes here. So the rook is safer when it moves away from the king. It goes knight takes d4. At this point, I was thinking, okay, this is now very, very dangerous for me. This pawn is going to give me troubles. So I went knight c4 so that I can try to stop the pawn that I'm worried about at any point with knight to e3. It goes knight c2. At this point, I was like, hey, guy really wants to kill me. When someone can take a piece and they don't do it immediately, they attack another one, then you're thinking, hey, now This guy wants more. Now I go rook f1, he goes knight takes. I have to move the king to h1. I think this is the move that does not feel nice playing at all. This move never feels nice playing. King to h1, especially with this kind of setup. Never feels good, but have to play uncomfortable moves sometimes. Knight to e3. I was ready for this exchange at any point because these knights are just annoying me here. Especially my rook is annoyed here. As you can see, its squares are limited here. I think b1 is the safest square for the rook right now if it was to move. Then he goes knight takes a3. Okay, and at this point I'm thinking, okay, yes, I was up a pawn, so he got his pawn back, but it feels like he wanted more, and all of a sudden he settled for the pawn. And when I'm looking at this position, I look at his king, my active rook, and my active knight. I think I can try to create something here. Even my bishop is not very lazy here, can easily join the game. The rook is just quiet, it's chilling, it's defending the king. So I go knight f5, attacking the rook and the g7 pawn. Goes rook to d2, and I take on g7. At this point, I was like, okay, my chances of losing this game are very slim. He might swindle me or trick me somehow because, you know, the pressure and you're nervous when you play against the games. He goes king h8, I go rook a7. And when I got to this position, you know, when you solve a lot of checkmate positions, what comes to you is mating patterns very quick. So in this position, the mating pattern I'm looking for is my knight being on f6. There would be an almost unstoppable mate, h7 here. I think rook and knight mate is called the Arabian mate, if I'm not mistaken, unless it's a specific position, but I thought checkmate with the rook and knight is called an Arabian mate. So with the knight on f6 and this rook capturing h7, I'm looking forward to that checkmate. But now how to make it work? You know, the hardest thing for a knight, it's moving it to the square just ahead of it or on the sides, just one square to the side, because the knight does not move anywhere close. So for this knight to get to f6, it would take me a long time. And now I'm thinking, will he not see me going for that attack? If it's gonna take that long, he's probably gonna see me, right? Fine enough, you will see if he saw me or not. Then he goes knight d2. I go back to e3. I'm saying, hey, let's trade, man. I don't mind. Because again, I'm thinking if I go for that whole idea of going for knight f6, I think this guy's going to see me. For example, I could have went knight h6, g4, f6. But again, I'm suspecting I was going to see it. So knight e3, politely saying, let's trade knights. Because I was offering the trade before anyways, so I didn't mind trading knights here. He goes knight takes before taking another pawn. Then I say, okay. Remember our checkmate idea? Still going for that checkmate. So he goes rook f8. So okay, now you see the guy really saw me. But now at the expense of this pawn, which is very important, because now the bishop is involved. All my three pieces are involved here, and guess what? He cannot defend h7. So now it's a problem already. So goes knight c3. I take on h7. Goes king g8. Then I moved my rook to e1. No, I'm joking. Knight h6. This was a checkmate. That's how I beat a very strong grandmaster from Germany, Dmitrij. I don't want to hear you guys saying, this guy did not play like a 3000, blah, blah, blah. You should say, I played way better than this 700 rating. So again, just to go through the game quick, this was a Pogo Indian defense. Like I said, I don't explain much in the opening because these openings I play over the board currently, so I don't want you guys to know my ideas outright. You'll see them on the board. So yeah, it was pretty standard stuff here. I think the game got too complicated yet around move 17. But like I said, my idea was to have time advantage. So most of this I did not calculate. I was solving it as it comes. So I was worried. I actually saw this after I played, but I realized I still have some ideas as well. So knight c3, rook e1 again. I think this was a nice game. I don't think I was ever in trouble like that. I think I might have just I wouldn't say outplayed him, but yeah, you know what, it is what it is. I think I was happy with this win. Also beating this guy with this rating, I think it was a good one. You guys enjoyed. See you soon.
Give a round of applause to that.
Taking it now to the next level.